Surely many of you have already seen the latest spoilers from Defu, and this time there are 7 of them. The secret caption immediately catches the eye. You cannot escape impending doom, and nothing ever goes according to plan. These words seem to warn in advance of the impending tragedy. Judging by all appearances, the Alliance will also find itself in a critical situation. In the second part of episode 79, perhaps no one will save them, and only someone will sacrifice themselves to hold back the powerful wave of attack, giving the rest a chance to escape. This could well be Mafia Toilet, who recently became a new half-titanium. As I said earlier, the plot in this series develops logically. Therefore, it is logical to assume that in the anniversary 80th episode, the balance of power will be restored, and it is the Alliance that will take a dominant position. I suggest taking a closer look at these spoilers because they may hide much more than meets the eye. Well, in return, as always, your like and subscription to the channel. Well, we continue. In the first frame, the eye immediately catches the massive figure of a large cameraman. He seems to have frozen for a moment, perhaps preparing for a decisive attack. His posture exudes tension and confidence, but one gets the impression that he is completely unaware of the danger creeping up behind him. Just a few steps behind him, an Astro Hunter and another Astro Toilet are waiting for the right moment. As we remember, in episode 78, the Astro Hunter was seriously wounded in a fierce battle with the half-titanium Speakerman. His appearance at that time was grim and scarred. Deep wounds and the loss of limbs left a strong impression on viewers. But here, in the new spoiler, we see nothing of the sort. No critical injuries, no visible traces of that battle. This makes us wonder, is this the same hunter, or is it a completely different member of their squad, ready to continue the mission? Personally, I sincerely wish this agent luck. I want to believe that he will be able to withstand and survive the impending chaos. The second frame shows the destroyed base of the Cameraman, already familiar to us from previous spoilers. Its massive walls are pierced, and the structures look half destroyed, as if after a protracted and fierce assault. However, upon closer inspection, you can notice an interesting detail. At the very top of the base, there are antennas that emit a strange energy. The bright glow and rhythmic pulses create the impression that these are not just the remains of old equipment, but a functioning system. It is possible that these antennas are transmitting an SOS signal, calling on allies to find their location and come to their aid. A similar situation already occurred in episode 78, when the half-titanium Speakerman installed an unknown device that emitted a powerful red beam into the sky. This beam was so bright and concentrated that, in my opinion, it could be seen from a great distance. Perhaps now we are seeing an attempt to repeat a similar signal in order to escape the impending threat. In the third frame, we see the camera woman kneeling. Judging by the position of her guns, aimed directly at her own head, it becomes clear that she intends to kill herself. This moment clearly conveys the critical nature of what is happening and the level of despair she finds herself in. It seems to me that someone will intervene and save her, perhaps even at the cost of their own life. I am reminded of episode 77, when the camera woman threw herself at a huge Astro Toilet, but at the last moment, the TV woman managed to rescue her. It is possible that this time she will be there again, although it could be another character. At the same time, there is a possibility that by this point, someone from the Alliance squad has already fallen in battle, and that person was important to her. The loss of another close comrade could have finally broken her spirit, and now, having lost the will to fight, she is ready to turn her weapon on herself in an attempt to end her own suffering. In the fourth frame, the action takes place at the site where the scientist Kleiner's suit was destroyed, as indicated by the burnt column. In the lower right corner, you can also see a smiling TV man busy with something, and next to him are several cameramen's cars armed with guns. This TV man has long aroused certain suspicions among many viewers. Is he someone's spy? Even in critical situations, such as when the TV men's base was discovered and attacked, he kept the same serene smile and stood absolutely calm, as if everything that was happening did not concern him. We want to believe that this is just unwavering optimism and not betrayal. which could spell disaster for the entire alliance. The fifth frame not only looks incredibly atmospheric, but would also be perfect for a preview of the new episode. In it, the Astro Duchess stands directly on the roof of the Cameraman base, and the first thing that catches the eye is her core. It has taken on an unusual blue hue, which usually symbolizes the energy of the Cameraman. The question arises, could they really have infected her? This is probably why Duchess emphasized this frame. Only the energy streams of the Cameramen are visible around the Duchess, as if emphasizing her current state. But it is no less strange that her eyes have turned red. Perhaps this is a sign that she is resisting the influence with her last ounce of strength, trying to maintain control over herself before it is too late. Or perhaps the opposite is true. The Astro Duchess is not infected, but has absorbed the energy from the Cameraman's laser, which continues to attack her. Such an excess of energy could not only change the color of her core, but also affect her appearance. Her eyes turned red, and her posture became confident and powerful. Perhaps now she is able to direct this absorbed power against her enemies, turning their weapons to her own advantage. In the sixth frame, we see a close-up of the Titan TV man, also known as the Guardian of Fate. His appearance suggests that he is concentrating a colossal flow of energy in his core, preparing to deliver a devastating, possibly final blow. A powerful glow emanates from the core, creating a sense of impending disaster. However, in order to draw more accurate conclusions, it would be desirable to see it in full size. This would allow us to examine whether there are any signs of damage, weakened areas, or any other details that could play a key role in the outcome of the battle. And perhaps the most intriguing is the seventh spoiler. It shows a half-dead large TV man, almost completely enveloped in a purple glow, as if his body is permeated with this energy. Behind him, you can see a scientist and a large cameraman who, judging by their actions, are either rescuing someone or performing some important task. The background of the frame is completely immersed in darkness, which suggests that we may again find ourselves either in a series of flashbacks or in the very dimension of TV men shown in episode 78. If so, then perhaps we will see the revelation of one of the characters' past or even fragments of future events. There is a possibility that this episode will tell us more about a character like Jeffrey. Last time we learned that after spending too much time in that dimension, he turned into a guard who is destined to maintain order forever, remaining a slave to this place forever. So, we've analyzed all 7 new spoilers. To be honest, the picture is extremely grim. The main enemies of the Alliance seem completely unharmed, while the Cameraman's base lies in ruins. All this suggests that the Alliance is indeed facing an inevitable end, from which it is already impossible to hide or fight back. It becomes even more alarming when we remember that the big TV man is in a semi-dead state, and the camera woman has pointed both of her guns at her own head. All this creates a feeling of hopelessness and prepares us for events that may become the most tragic in the entire story. And before moving on to my assumptions about the plot of the second part of episode 79, I suggest we take a look at a couple of questions that YouTuber Ebio asked Duchess. When asked, "Are you still working off-screen with particles?" Duchess replied with a thumbs-up emoji. Unfortunately, as he said earlier, working on particles takes even more time than the animation itself, so we just have to be patient. The second question was, can you say how many minutes of animation are left, or how much work is still ahead, and when do you think the episode will be released? Duchess replied that only the last scene remained to be animated, which is certainly encouraging and gives hope for the early completion of the work. To clarify the timing, Ebio asked if Duchess would be able to release the episode by the middle of this month. He responded with a shrugging emoji, which clearly indicates uncertainty. Initially, as we know, the release was planned for June, but the episode turned out to be much more epic than planned, and high quality, as we know, takes time. It seems to me that if the Alliance does receive help in the next episode, it will only happen at the very last moment. Even from the spoilers, it is already clear that the agents are in critical condition and that there is practically nothing left of the base. As for possible losses in episode 79, there are currently 2 main candidates. One of them is the camera woman, who may not be saved in time and will ultimately ultimately destroy herself. The second candidate is the big TV man, who, on the verge of death, may show viewers something important from his dimension, leaving a clue to the further development of events. It is worth noting that we still have not seen the fighters from the G Squad. There is no Toilet Mafia, no Toilet Michael Jackson, and no hybrid Giga Chad in the spoilers. Moreover, in the first part of the episode, we did not see the Toilet DJ at all, which may mean his unexpected and spectacular appearance with new, powerful improvements that can change the course of the battle. I'm a super cameraman. See you soon. Bye, everyone.